Welcome, everyone. I'm so pleased today to have Terri Harrington with us, who I consider a mentor in the Colorado legal community. I have been honored to work with Terri on so many different mediations where she served as my mediator for a lot of complicated cases. And she always brings just such a beautiful approach to it, just a real personal and approachable approach to the whole thing. So I appreciate that about you, Terri. There's so much I could say about you. She also, I'll just make as a note, was the, what do we call it? Like the Icon Award or something like that?
Yes, yes.
Called. Okay, so that's a very elite group of very small number of people in Colorado who the bar votes to be our, superstar, basically. And Terri was the recipient of that, maybe 2 years ago. So
Yeah,
thank you.
2022.
2022. So thank you for being here. She's also a real leader in collaborative law. And so I am just really excited that you're here, Terri.
Thank you, Krista. I'm always delighted to see you. I've always respected you, and I know you do good work for families. So
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Well, so let's get started. Maybe give us a little bit of insight first as to, where you have kind of journeyed in your life in terms of becoming this person professionally. How did you get involved in this and, get a passion about these areas of law, particularly collaborative law?
yeah, I grew up on a farm in Nebraska, and I came from a very conservative place. I'm not conservative, but I do appreciate the family farm and my three sisters who still live there. Anyway, I wanted to go to a bigger city to go to law school. And I came to Denver and went to Denver University and was a public defender in Jefferson County for 5 years, where I represented poor people charged with crimes. So that is kind of where my background started. Then I hung my shingle out after I had a baby because the public defender wanted me to start doing death penalty work, which was going to be very difficult. And I took one divorce case, just one, and that couple referred me everybody they knew, and my family law practice just boomed. And I didn't even intend to be a family law lawyer, but I did find that, I kind of had a knack for listening and for understanding what it's like. I've had 2 divorces myself. I had a 4-year-old at the time of my first one. He's 38 now with 2 little granddaughters, but I am very thrilled that I was able to give to the family law community. I think parents need help when they go through this. Everybody who goes through divorce or any kind of family law matter needs good guidance, and it just seemed to be a really good fit. In fact, I think God put me on this earth to help me do that with families and children.
How do the costs work compared to another case, and another case where you might have 2 attorneys coming in? I suppose it would be less expensive because you're not spending all the money on the fighting and the disclosures. And I mean, when anybody says deposition, this is going badly. I
Right.
would say I have literally never needed to depose anyone in any family law case because it's
Me neither.
our
Me
thing.
neither.
Have you ever noticed a deposition?
No.
Never. You've
I
been-
have had to defend them, but I
Yeah.
have never asked for a deposition. No,
Me neither.
don't need
Never.
it.
Not ever in my career, nor will I probably ever. If it's going that way, it's the immediate hot red flag that this is going south, and it's probably irreparable. And it's just usually the fault of the other attorney, honestly, because there's almost no question we wouldn't provide and be honest about and all the things. But when I hear that, there's something very broken. But obviously, compared to litigating, it's going to be less expensive. But it also does feel kind of expensive, maybe out of the chute, because you feel like you're bringing on all these variety of hats. You've got financial people, or you have, your case manager or mediator type. Do you have to have all those people right away, or do they only come on on an as needed basis?
Depending on the case, you don't have to have them. It's not absolutely required. However, if there is any kind of complication in finances, in taxes, in spousal maintenance numbers, they're invaluable. Having a neutral financial expert explain to you why this works and this does not work so well, uh, tax consequences, all the things that can affect families. It's really invaluable. So most of the time, it is very much an asset to have a neutral financial person explaining to both parties. One may be, you know, way more used to understanding their finances, and one may be not used to understanding their finances, and having a neutral party discuss that versus two attorneys fighting over what's right uh, can be much more efficient. And, you never know until you have the exact same case. And you look at
Right.
the litigation and how much that costs, and you look at collaborative and how much that costs. And sometimes the emotions of the parties get in the way, could cause collaborative law to go on longer than it should. But we got to take the clients where they are and move at the pace of the slowest person. Um, I love the concept of spending money to get a case resolved without having a judge who doesn't know your kids, doesn't know you, and will give you a very short time to be able to say what you want to say. And then they're going to make a binding decision that'll affect the rest of your life and the rest of your children's life. The two people who love those children more than anybody on earth are the two parents, and they should be making the decision what happens with finances and what happens with their children. Um, and it's a scary prospect to go in front of a judge who may, not be having the best month on earth or the best day that morning, and have them make a decision that you have to live with whether you like it or not.
You talked about evolving and that family lawyers need to evolve. What do you think would help family law lawyers do that and help their clients do that?
So I believe, and they did this. There was a bill, I believe it was Michigan, who someone introduced a bill into the Michigan legislature saying every family law attorney had to take collaborative law training. Now, it didn't pass and it was expensive, but um, that's really what needs to happen. Family law attorneys need to understand that you can change your paradigm. You can still take normal cases that are not this formal collaborative process where your attorney gets disqualified if you don't resolve it. But you can learn about how to have a different perspective on family law, how to focus on problem solving, how to model behavior. All that can be learned, and it can be learned in the collaborative law trainings because that's what we train attorneys to do to be able to do the collaborative law process. I've done tons of cases that weren't collaborative where I used all those skills. So I truly think that all um, family law professionals should be required to do that kind of training. It doesn't have to be called collaborative law. It can be called, peaceful lawyer making. You know, I
Right.
when I do trainings for collaborative law, I quote Warren Burger and Abraham Lincoln and Gandhi, who all said attorneys need to learn to be peacemakers. That's who they are. They are not supposed to be warriors, but television and law schools and ever have have stamped the gladiator, label on family law attorneys, and that's what some attorneys think. And when I was young, that's what I thought too.
Hmm.
But that is damaging to families. Attorneys need to be peacemakers. There are many judges on the bench who have never had a divorce, who have never done a family law case ever. There are criminal defense attorneys, there are insurance defense attorneys, there are corporate attorneys being appointed to the bench, and they're deciding what happens to your family. And that's a scary process. They don't really understand domestic violence. They don't really understand, alcohol abuse and how that can affect things. I mean, they're not trained. They don't have a lot of experience, but they're making those decisions that are going to affect you if you are going through a divorce and that's your judge. So having a family law court where they appoint family law practitioners, which are rare on the bench,
Right.
so
And we've
rare.
talked about that on the show too, that like it's way more common. I mean, there's maybe I just interviewed Judge Bruce Cohen out of Maricopa County, fourth biggest jurisdiction in the country in Arizona, and he's been in the domestic relations world for like 47 years or something really long. and he's been on the bench a really long time. And he's like, yeah, I think of the 50 or so judges I oversee, you know, well, I may be the only one, there's one or two who have any family law experience. And Angie Arkin and Judge Lund talked about how few people in Colorado, it's just they don't apply for it, or they're not, they're not awarded it because they're perceived by the political system as not having enough experience these other areas. Then they go throw all these people immediately onto on the family bench. They
Yeah.
put them on as their first rotation. So they're new
Right.
judges with zero family law experience. We are always bemoaning that on the family law bar. 'Cause it's like, oh, you get these judges trained up, and then presto, they're gone, onto a new rotation.